Thanks for being inviting me to be part of this event today. It's been great to see the presentations by Robin and Praz, and I took away a couple of things from there. I know Robin mentioned about the complexity of IT and how that's certainly a challenge that we all have to rise to. And for me, one of the ways that we get around that is being able to make sure that we're skilled in the right areas, or actually using some of the tools to get around some of these complexities. And also Praz, in his presentation, he touched on some of the elements around, well, what do we do if we've got stuff on premise, and what if we've got it in multi-clouds? How do we actually address that? So what I'd like to speak to you today is about our TechData multi-cloud project that we've recently launched over the last couple of days. And what I'd like to kind of just outline to you is some of our journey and experience of this particular projects that we're deploying into our partner community, and how you can be a part of that, and hopefully we'll be able to partner with you and then build something and actually be able to succeed into your end user clients. So just let me move on to my next slide, if it would. So what I'd like to talk to you about is the multi-cloud opportunity. I think Praz mentioned this a little too. There's lots of stats going around the industry at the moment about the multi-cloud opportunity, and I've picked out a couple of the key ones here for me are the most relevant. In 2022, we're looking at a market of around about 5.6 billion. I was actually I had the pleasure to be on one of the cloud summits of yesterday, and a Red Hat employee then threw up another a stat that I think it was 2024 would actually be 8 billion. So we can certainly see that there's something happening within the market around multi-cloud, the need to have the right workload in the right place at the right time for your particular application. And that for me, especially with the current situation of COVID and being able to have that agility, is certainly driving those conversations of where we are. And again, this is a stat that we've had prior to actually COVID, which is 80% are using multiple clouds, which is no real surprise to any of us in the IT industry today. But if anything, that number is probably only going to get bigger. And people are really trying to understand, trying to figure out, how are they going to do this? How are we going to make sure that we're making best use of our application? How are you going to make sure we're, of course, cost optimize, and making sure that we're actually we can actually see everything that we have deployed and understand what it is and what it's doing, and is there any security risks to that? So there's a whole lots of things to consider about this. And again, this is something that was released over the last week or so. There's a Forrester Wave chart. I'm sure we're all quite familiar with these. And this kind of confirms to me that the IBM acquisition of Red Hat is really starting to pay off. So you can see us in the top right hand corner here. Forrester don't usually often give these type of scores very, very regularly. So the fact that we're so far right and aft the chart shows that actually the capabilities of IBM and Red Hat combined is starting to grow into a real powerful ecosystem and been able to actually address this. But this comes with a big but. Managing multi-clouds, managing multiple systems, multiple applications, being able to figure out automation, governance is difficult. It's really challenging. So as a partner, we find that we might need to learn new skills. We might need to create partnerships. So my question to you is, as a partner, so how can we adapt and lead into this particular area without, because we might find that certain partners might have abilities around, say, automation, but you might not have skills in other areas. So it's really quite a big challenge for a lot of our partners to try and get our heads around of how we can actually look to adapt and lead with this real huge opportunity that we have in front of us. So what we've done as TechData is we've created a whole project around this, which is called the TechData Multi-Cloud Project. So we've actually started to build a whole area of education and being able to access a system, to actually try use cases, to understand your business and to see how we can enable you to get to that point, to have these conversations confidently with your customers and make sure that we're recommending the right solution at the right time for the right customer. So, move on my slide. So what is the project? So it's all about helping partners. And I've kind of split this into, for me, the key areas of how we're actually going to be helping partners. It's about creating that engagement around multi-clouds. Because what we have found when we've been speaking to a lot of our partners about this, the conversation has gone in so many different directions. It could be involving applications, it could be involving infrastructure, it could be involving compliance. So we find that having been able to have the conversation about multi-cloud is really important, especially to the end users, because we find that each of our end user customer might be on a different phase of their journey. Some of them might be, I've literally want to start from scratch and make everything cloud native, and we all want to get straight onto that straight away. And then we might have other customers that have a lot of legacy systems and still thinking, how on earth are we actually going to address this? So we're going to look to see if we can create that engagement around multi-clouds to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that we can understand what we're actually kind of rolling out to those customers. So also we're looking to help partners deploy and learn about OpenShift, because if you've seen any IBM's presentations recently, and certainly the Red Hat ones, OpenShift is fundamental to what we're doing as a business, and we really need to make sure that we understand why it is relevant to look at OpenShift and why that is a real advantage of a customer to harness that. And of course, then we can look at defining use cases depending on what you need as a partner or a customer, and then we can see if we can align projects to that. And of course, all of this we'll be looking to test and develop using the IBM multi-cloud management. So how did we actually go about developing this project? So our initial thought was, how on earth are we going to do this? We look naturally to our business solutions center, which is our demo center in Bracknell, which unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we haven't been able to deploy or get in as regular as we would like to. So what we've had to do, we've had to come up with a whole different way of doing this. So we've actually decided to, excuse me, just try and forward my slides. We've actually decided to deploy it on IBM Cloud, which is a completely whole different way of doing things from our point of view. But by doing it on IBM Cloud, has brought a whole bunch of advantages with it. So what we've done is a whole bunch of things. And what is our experience around that? So we've deployed Red Hat OpenShift, the ROX version, on top of IBM Cloud, and then layered on top the Cloud Pak for multi-cloud management. And because of this, it's really enabled us to get to a point to delivering to the partners much quicker than we ever thought it would be. But because it's on IBM Cloud, it's actually enabled us to have lots of advantages. So we can automatically recover nodes, and we don't have to worry about the monitoring, the logging, the security, the patch management of the OS and OpenShift, because it's all done with IBM Cloud. So it's actually really enabled us to do this really quickly. And we can add worker nodes, we can add storage, and of course we can scale it all reasonably quickly. So and that pays off for instant advantage to you as a partner. So we'll be able to fire up new resources in literally hours rather than actually trying to deploy it on-prem and infrastructure. So it's a real flexible way of doing this. And it's been able us to actually get on with understanding the core of the actual product, which is OpenShift and the MCM product. So it's really started to accelerate what we're doing and make a big difference to us. So how are we actually going to help you succeed? So what we've done, we've divided it into two sections, which is partner and build. So today, I'm very much so, thank you for being part of a TechData ecosystem event. But this is really important to us as TechData, because we do find that with MCM and multi-cloud, there is so many different areas, and to partner with a mutual benefiting partner makes real sense to do so, because it can really accelerate your ability to transact into clients and it's a real benefit for everybody. So it also can help you deploy those solutions much quicker into clients. So what I would say is we really would like to understand your business and requirements and how we can actually drive them forward. So you might have applications, you might have customers on-prem, you might have customers at the beginning of that journey. And it's a case of how do we go about partnering with you to enable you to do that. And of course, there's a whole bunch of education around that we can certainly help you with. I've gone through quite a lot of the badges, certainly a lot of the education to be able to do that. And we found there is masses of stuff out there, but it depends on where you want to be and what actually your focus area is, what we would recommend. Because there is so much stuff out there, it's a case of making sure that we're focused on the stuff that matters to you. So for me, one of the most important bits is actually how we go about building this. So with CloudPath for MCM, it actually spans so many areas, such as it's basically say the DevSecOps method, but within that there's so many products and so many features that is really difficult to scale. Recently, we've actually launched a new version of MCM, which is version 2.0, which has added a whole other bunch of features and functions to it. So what we've said is we decided to focus on the 3 core functions of multi-cloud manager, which is the visibility, the governance, the automation. So what we would say to partners, look at how we could understand of importing Kubernetes clusters to the tool, and then we can actually get visibility of those and then see what applications you have. And then once we looked at the applications, we can start to create governance and rules around that. And then of course we can look to automate it using tools such as Ansible and the like, and there are of course other tools out there that enable us to do that. So it's a real combination of things that we can potentially do with this tool, which is really quite exciting. So basically, if we start to kind of wrap all these things together, we can start to help you succeed. So here's our fashionable QR code. I think most people tend to do these days on the presentations. And this will link you back to our landing page for CloudPath for multi-cloud management. And on that site, there's a whole bunch of information around the project, further details of what we have. On there is also a great video done by our marketing, which kind of explains it in a nutshell within, I think, under 2 minutes. But what I would say to you, my final note is that this is a free facility for UK TechData partners. So we have this sandbox environment sat in the cloud, and we invite you as a partner to try and use this to educate your workforce and to make sure that we can engage with your clients deeply into the multi-cloud arena to make sure that we're addressing this market opportunity for you. So thank you.